is Milan, Italy. As you can see, Milan is amazing and beautiful with incredibly rich heritage that includes one of the most famous and mysterious paintings in the world, Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. This is one of the richest and most fashionable places in Europe. Here they have the most famous opera theater in the world, and behind me is the largest cathedral in Italy that's also third largest in the world. This is also a world capital of fashion and a host of Winter Olympics in 2026. Hi guys, my name is Rok and I spent last 9 years traveling around Europe as a tour guide, and I can't wait to show you things to do in Milan, Italy. One of the best places to start exploring Milan is the top of this tower. This is the highest point of Milan with a height of 108 meters or 354 feet, and it offers one of the best views of Milan's skyline. Tower was erected in 1933 in the historic city center within the Sempione Park. Its modern lift system will transport you to the scenic terrace on the top in less than a minute. From there, you can admire the view for about 7 minutes as the tour is time limited. Only up to 5 people may visit the top of the tower at the same time, so it's a good idea to book it in advance. I'll put the booking link in the description below. Opening times are changing depending on the season, but in general the tower is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays and in case of bad weather or strong wind. On the edge of Sempione Park is this triumphal arch of peace that represents one of city gates of Milan. The origin of this gate dates back to the Roman times when Milan was a capital of Western Roman Empire surrounded by city walls. When in 400s Germanic people of Visigoths sieged Milan, centuries of instability and wars followed that destroyed most of the Roman legacy. At the end of the 1300s, Milan became independent as the Visconti family took control of the city. Their coat of arms, with a serpent swallowing a man, dominated the city, and it can still be seen around. Visconti coat of arms has been a historic symbol of the city and is also part of the logo of famous car brand from Milan, Alfa Romeo. In the mid-1400s, new ruling family, House of Sforza, rose to power, and they turned Milan into one of the leading cities of Italian Renaissance, where among others, Leonardo da Vinci worked and lived. In 1500s, Milan was conquered by a Spanish king and later by Austrian Empire. In 1800s, Napoleon conquered northern Italy, including Milan, and to commemorate his victories, he commissioned the building of this arch. But the work was not completed as Napoleon was soon defeated and Milan was returned to the Austrians. Austrian Emperor Franz Joseph ordered the completion of this arch, and it was dedicated to the restored peace after Napoleon's defeat. But peace didn't last long, as Milan rebelled against Austrian rule, and in 1859 French and Italian troops defeated the Austrians. Kingdom of Italy was born, and Milan became part of it. In his many years in Milan, Leonardo da Vinci left a big impact. All over the city you can find museums and galleries dedicated to his life and work, showing his engineering ingenuity and his artistic excellence. Leonardo III is one of those places located on a prominent spot in the most famous and beautiful 19th century shopping gallery. Here you can see the best wooden working models of machines designed by Leonardo. Models were built by studying Da Vinci's designs. Besides the real models, there are also interactive touchscreens where you can see Leonardo's original drawings, how a model was put together, and how it works, all in great graphics. This is the most modern, interactive, and interesting exhibition of Leonardo's machines. Exhibition is constantly expanding and updating, with new models being built by studying Codex Atlanticus, a collection of more than 2,200 pages of notes and sketches made by Leonardo. Digital version of amazing Codex Atlanticus is also on display to visitors. If you couldn't get a ticket to see the original Last Supper painted by Da Vinci in the nearby convent of Santa Maria delle Grazie, you can admire it here in a digitally restored version with information about the science and the story behind it. This interesting exhibition will take you about an hour. Surprisingly, this is a cemetery, although it looks more like an open-air gallery. This large cemetery was created in 1866 to unify several small cemeteries scattered around the city. This cemetery is full of beautiful marble with mixture of architectural styles created by the greatest sculptors of the time. At the main entrance, you can find a map showing where to find the most impressive tombs. As soon as you walk through the main entrance, you'll see an area where hundreds of Italy's most renowned architects, sportsmen, actors, journalists, musicians, and other VIPs are buried. But the most impressive tombs are a white sculpted tower that represents the life and death of Christ belonging to the Bernocchi family, a curious pyramid built for the Bruni family, and several sculptures representing the Last Supper commissioned by the Campari family, inventors of aperitif. The cemetery is open from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. and it is closed on Mondays. This is a very popular neighborhood to hang out and to experience nightlife in Milan. Navigli is the place for an early evening drink known as aperitif that was actually invented here. Main feature of this neighborhood are its two water canals and their meeting point called Darsena that used to be one of the busiest ports in Italy. Since Milan doesn't have a river like any other major inland city, a network of man-made canals known as Navigli was built in the Middle Ages. This canal linked Milan to major rivers and lakes in order to enable transport of goods, building materials, and provided irrigation for the growing city. While other canals were covered by new roads and buildings, the two of Milan's last canals are still here. Their banks are filled with numerous restaurants, bars, shops, and riverside boutiques. These canals are also part of the legacy of Leonardo da Vinci, as he made navigation between Milan and Lake Como possible. The problem was the altitude difference between the two places, and Leonardo solved the problem by creating an innovative system of locks. This is one of the largest science and technology museums in Europe, housed in 16th century monastery. This is a great place to visit if you have plenty of time to spend and you like technology. The museum reflects technical and productive spirit of Milan by showing the history of scientific development. Exhibition includes extremely interesting artifacts from moon rock to ocean liner, a submarine, and even a rocket. At the museum, you can discover exhibits and interactive workshops on energy, materials, communication, transport, energy, and particle physics. Part of the museum is also dedicated to Leonardo da Vinci and shows a collection of accurately reconstructed wooden models of machinery designed by Leonardo. These historical models were made from Leonardo's original drawings and were built by architects, engineers, and model makers. This huge place offers a wonderful experience in science and technology, especially for young families. Just be aware that museum is closed on Mondays. This is Brera Palace, located in fashionable Brera neighborhood. This beautiful Renaissance palace from the 1600s was built as a Jesuit college, but since the mid-1700s, it's been used as Academy of Fine Arts. Here is one of the finest art galleries in Italy. The gallery can be found on the first floor, and its collection includes top-shelf Renaissance and Baroque art. The impressive exhibition is especially concentrated in religious-themed works from the 14th to the 16th centuries, as art from the closed or demolished churches was stored here. The paintings are placed in chronological order throughout the gallery's 38 halls and hung together depending on the school they belong to. The most famous painting in the gallery is Raphael's Marriage of the Virgin from 1504, the finest work of his first period. Here are also beautiful Supper at the Mouse from Caravaggio, famous The Kiss from Francesco Hayez, Rubens' Last Supper, and many other priceless masterpieces. This is one of the most famous opera houses in the world, where world's greatest opera singers perform. Here, great composers like Verdi and Puccini premiere their works. This opera house was built in 1700s by replacing an old church of Santa Maria alla Scala, from which the theater got its name. La Scala soon became the meeting place for noble and wealthy Milanese people in their lavishly decorated boxes. Theater was renovated in 1907 when it was given its current layout and capacity of almost 2,000 people. Inside are 6 tiers of seating with individual boxes framing the stage in a semicircle. Opera House can be visited as part of the guided tour, although at the time of my visit, tours are limited due to COVID restrictions. By visiting the opera's museum next door, you can also have a glimpse of the theater's interior if rehearsals and performances are not in progress. On the official website, you can find a timetable showing when theater is visible from the museum. I'll put the link in the description below. This castle is one of the landmarks of Milan. This huge building houses the best collection of different museums and galleries in the city. But for centuries, citizens of Milan wanted to demolish this castle as it served as a symbol of foreign domination. The castle was built in the 15th century by Francesco Sforza, Duke of Milan, as his residence. Sforza family invited various artists to decorate the castle, including Leonardo da Vinci, who frescoed several rooms. Sforza family made Milan one of the leading cities of the Italian Renaissance, but the family soon died out. Years of instability followed, and eventually Milan was taken by the Spanish king. Under the Spanish domination, the castle was militarized and has become a garrison for 3,000 soldiers. After the Spaniards came the Austrians that turned this castle into one of the largest citadels in Europe. After Austrians were defeated and Milan became part of Kingdom of Italy, the castle was demilitarized and ceded to the city. People of Milan were torn between keeping the castle or replacing it with a new residential neighborhood. As you can see, the castle was preserved and restored to its original shape when it was used as a residence by the Sforza family. The restoration was completed in 1905 and included creation of the nearby Sempione Park, where we started this video. Castle's courtyards are open to the public with no admission. But if you have the time, you should also visit castle's museums. Inside this convent is one of the most famous and mysterious artistic masterpieces in the world, the Last Supper, painted by Leonardo da Vinci. The complex was built from 1400s onwards, and the famous painting was completed in 1498. The Last Supper was painted on the wall of the dining hall of the monastery, and it is huge. The scene shows a reaction of deeply shaken apostles at the Last Supper immediately after Jesus said, "One of you will betray me." But rather than using fresco, Leonardo created the painting using a dry technique with special tempera he had invented. This enabled him to do a slow progress suited for making changes. But because of the used technique, the painting began to deteriorate already 20 years after it was completed. Over the years, numerous restoration attempts have been made, but the painting still represents a challenge due to its fragility. To preserve the painting, a constant room temperature is required, and that is why entry has been restricted to a group of 25 people on 15 minutes. There is also a second huge fresco no one talks about, made at the same time as Leonardo's masterpiece. It is titled Crucifixion and was painted by Giovanni Donato. Booking ahead is needed, and reservations open up every 2 months for the following 2 months. For booking, you should check out the official website of Leonardo's Last Supper Museum to learn how to book a ticket and how to visit the museum. This is Italy's oldest active shopping gallery that connects two of Milan's most famous landmarks, the Duomo and the Teatro alla Scala. But this beautiful gallery has become a landmark on its own. It was built in the 1860s and was named after Victor Emanuele II, the first king of the Kingdom of Italy. impressive triumphal arch entrance leads in a 4-story space with 2 glass-vaulted arcades covering the street connecting Piazza del Duomo to Piazza della Scala. 2 arcades are intersecting in a large glass dome. Under the dome, the floor is decorated by 4 mosaics portraying the coat of arms of Milan and 3 capitals of Kingdom of Italy: Turin, Florence, and Rome. The legend goes, if you step on the testicles of the bull on Turin coats of arms and spin the heel 3 times, this will bring you good luck. In the gallery are luxury retailers selling exclusive, custom-fitted high-end fashion, jewelers, bookshops, galleries, a museum of Leonardo I showed you earlier, as well as some of the oldest restaurants and cafes, and even a luxury hotel. This is the largest church in Italy, 2nd largest in Europe, and 3rd largest in the world. To put it in simple words, this is ridiculously huge church. Milan Cathedral, known as Duomo Di Milan, took nearly 6 centuries to complete. The construction began in 1386 and the final details were completed only in 1965. The exterior of this Gothic-style cathedral is covered in marble and is decorated with thousands of intricately carved spires and statues. This church actually holds a world record with a total of 3,400 statues both within and on the exterior of this cathedral. The highest spire is 108 meters or 356 feet high, and on its top is a golden copper statue of Mary known as the Madonnina, the symbol of Milan. Here are also 55 stained glass windows made from the late 1300s to the late 1900s. Cathedral is also impressive on the inside, where you can see 52 columns made of marble and carved statues that reach the ceiling. The interior includes numerous monuments and artworks, including the statue of Saint Bartholomew, sculpted with meticulous attention to detail, showing the apostle's body being flayed alive and his skin draped over his shoulders. Here is also the relic of the sacred nail, allegedly taken from the cross of Christ's crucifixion. But one of the biggest attractions is the visit of the rooftops known as Duomo terraces, from where you can admire inspiring panorama of Milan. Milan is one of the richest cities in the world with an amazing heritage, and it offers many more interesting things to do. But Milan is also a fashion capital of Europe, and you may wonder how come my list of things to do doesn't include shopping. As shopping is taken extremely seriously around here, I prepared a special video dedicated only to shopping. That upcoming video will show you the best shopping areas in Milan on a proper shopping tour and will be available in the top right corner. If you like this video, please give it thumbs up. You can share your questions, suggestions, or experience about Milan in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification bell to be notified about my future travel videos. Thanks for watching and see you next time.